We're talking hardball, the bull and the better. Talking hardball, part of Betting Weekly. Handicappers, they're all in the know. Pick some winners and then we say let's go. So come on, it's time to watch the show. We're talking hardball, Ken Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw. We're talking hardball, over under on the hot dogs. Talking hardball, bring your giant bag of peanuts. Talking hardball.
Live on a hot and steamy Friday afternoon in Cleveland, but it's got to be hot and steamier, even more so in Vegas, where Chris Macero is, professional gambler and handicapper. Chris, I'm Adam the Bull. How are you doing today? I said that as if I'm introducing myself to Chris. I was introducing myself to the fans. But Chris, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
I'm doing great. Everything's great. Got up early, got a little exercise. It was actually below 100 for the first time in the morning, but it's just been crazy the last couple of days. 108, 107, 111 the other day around 6 o'clock. It doesn't cool down much. It's just maybe a little bit of like 92. You know, sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night, you look at the clock, and it still says, you know, it's 11:30, but it's still 98 degrees. So, but it's nice. I like the heat. It's better than the rain, the cold.
Oh yeah,
so no
complaint.
No complaint.
This is Betting Weekly Hardball. We're on every weekday at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 Pacific. Part of the Betting Weekly family under the Bet Rivers umbrella. If you're not using the Bet Rivers app, you're missing out. Today, in addition to where we always are live on YouTube, we are also live on Twitter, or X, if you've called it that. I don't ever call it X, but yeah, I guess it is X now. So there you go. And so you can watch the show either place, and we'll see if we're going to keep doing this in the future. But it's pretty cool. I sound like an old man talking about technology right now. So let's transition to baseball, to the games that are going on today. A full slate of games. In fact, a full slate plus one. 16 games on the docket today because the Guardians and White Sox are playing a doubleheader, and the first game will start in about an hour. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But let's begin with the Cubs and Yankees. They have, it's an interesting matchup. You have two teams in big markets that I feel like are pretty desperate to win this year. The Cubs with Kyle Tucker being a free agent at the end of the season, and the Yankees are always desperate to win, especially because they haven't done much winning since that, well, at least winning when it matters, since their great run, obviously, into the late 90s and into 2000. The Yankees are a pretty big favorite tonight, even though the Cubs have been the better team. That's because they're at home. The Yankees are hot, obviously. They've won 4 in a row, and the Cubs are going kind of a bullpen game. Chris Flexen, who's been a starter most of his career, journeyman, has pitched well for the Cubs, but he's pitched out of the pen, and he's going to get the start today in place of Jameson Taillon, who went on the injured list recently. Carlos Rodon, who overall has been good for the Yankees. Yankees a pretty big favorite. You don't often get a team that's a half game behind the Dodgers, and the Cubs, for the best record in the National League, be this significant an underdog. So what do you make of this game here, Chris?
Well, you got to go back to last night with the ultimate collapse by the Seattle Mariners.
Yep.
5-0, guys pitching a no-hitter.
Yeah.
And they're minus 5,500. So 5,500 to make 100 on Seattle at one point in the 8th inning of the game.
Yeah.
And a lot of people on social media, Portnoy had a huge bet on Seattle. And, everyone's saying, well, this and that. But, you could have hedged that bet. The Yankees were plus 1,800 after that home run to make it 5-0 Seattle, and then all hell broke loose. You take out Wu, which I'm not a big fan of. 103 pitches, he has to come out. Everyone says he has to come out. Well, what was the worst case scenario? The next guy got out, and then Stanton hits a home run. So Wu couldn't have done worse than that. So I would have left him in the game, let him finish the 8th inning. Then the 9th inning, they can't find the plate, and next thing you know, the game's tied. and then they win it in the extra inning with the worst tag I've ever seen by a catcher. I mean, the throw was there 25 feet before the guy got to home plate, and he somehow was still safe. So it'd be tough to go against this Yankee team right now because they're kind of rolling, getting some lucky breaks. Flexen, as you mentioned, has pitched well, 5-0. But this is his first start of the year, so we're not sure how long he's going to go. The over has gone over, 10 times now after it went under 16 times. I would tend to look for the over in this game. I haven't looked at the weather yet, see if the wind's blowing out, but two teams, pretty good offenses with home run power. Cubs have been pretty much the best offense all year. So maybe we could go with that trend. It's 9. It's a little bit juicy on the over 9, but I would probably look for an over. I haven't made a bet in this game.
Yeah.
A couple of stats. Goldie's 4 for 12 versus Flexen. Grisham 2 for 4. Judge 3 for 6 with 2 home runs against Flexen. So that's something you might want to look for. The opponents, the Yankees batters are batting 364 versus him. Rodon's been solid, 233 opponents batting average. So it would probably be a Yankees or nothing, or maybe an over. I don't have a play in the game yet.
Yeah, the Yankees had been under 16 games in a row, and now they've been over 11 games in a row. So it's just pretty crazy. You don't see streaks like that very often. But yeah, I do like the over in this game. I think it's going to be a very high scoring game. In this one, no doubt, because it's a great hitter's park. The Cubs got a good lineup. The Yankees hit well in their park, and the Cubs pitcher, although he's pitched well, I don't trust him at all.
A lot of lefties on the Cubs. You got Bush and PCA, short right field porch. So
Kyle Tucker too.
Yeah, Kyle Tucker. Yeah, three of the best hitters in the National League, power wise. So yeah, I would definitely lean towards an over. I haven't made a play yet.
All right, let's get to the Guardians. They got rained out with the White Sox yesterday. Guardians shockingly swept the Astros, ending a 10-game losing streak. All of a sudden remembered how to hit. They got a doubleheader today. The first game starting in about an hour, Logan Allen and Shane Smith. The second game will be Gavin Williams and Jonathan Cannon. What are you thinking on that doubleheader? Any plays there?
Logan Allen, pretty much the what you call just the average journeyman pitcher, 5-7, 4.07 ERA, 2-2, 4.23 on the road. Opponents on the White Sox, though, are batting 326 against him. So you would kind of say, hey, maybe Cleveland's hot. They're going to kind of ride it right through. But the opponent's batting average for the White Sox, and the White Sox, even though they don't get many wins, they have been hitting the ball okay. You might want to look for a prop. Robert is 5 for 15 versus Logan Allen. Slater 3 for 9. On the other side, Sam Smith's been pitching pretty well this year, not getting much run support. Jose Ramirez in a small sample size is 1 for 3. I don't really have much going on in this game. It's just kind of a stay away type of game. Cleveland got hot, beat the Astros. Nice little sweep for them. Maybe trying to salvage the season, but nothing really tickles my fancy too much on this game one way or another.
All right, the Mariners and the Tigers, great pitching matchup. I know Luis Castillo's not the pitcher he once was, but he's still good. And obviously Tarek Skubal is the best pitcher in baseball. So the Mariners, who just got swept by the Yankees, you talked about that awful choke last night. Now their prize after that game is to face Tarek Skubal. I mean, there's no way you could bet the Mariners in this game, can you?
Oh, this is one of those games where you don't like to lay the big number. But it's almost like, hey, just lay the big number. You just blew one of the worst losses of the season at New York. Now you're going to travel on the road. You're not a great hitting team as it is anyways, and you have to face the best pitcher in the American League on their home turf, and they're 32-15 at home. So if you're inclined and you play big numbers, this is one of the ones where you just say, you know what, I'm going to bet it because there's probably a better chance than the odds are showing that the Tigers are going to win this game. Just too many factors. The travel, the blown loss. Castillo's not pitching good. He's 2-2 with a 4.67 on the road. I could see this game being, just probably a low-scoring game, but Skubal doesn't give up many runs. Tigers aren't the craziest offense, but just a nice little 4-1 victory. Nothing to sweat about. I haven't got to the window on it yet, but I'd be big-time lean on Detroit as of right now.
Would you think about laying the 1.5 and getting it down to -112?
Yeah, I don't like laying 1.5, especially at home, due to the fact you might not get that extra at bat in the ninth inning. Plus, the Tigers lineup hasn't been as rock solid as it was a little bit early in the year. They struggled a little bit at Tampa Bay, some low-scoring games. They didn't hit too well on the getaway day game on Wednesday afternoon. So I wouldn't be inclined to lay the 1.5. You don't want to win the game, throw away a loser just because you didn't want to, sometimes you get a man up and, and lay the big juice. So I would stay clear of the 1.5, especially at home, not getting that extra ninth inning at bat.
All right, folks. A lot of people watching on the live show here on X. Usually people watching on YouTube, but today we got a pretty good amount of views going on live, and we appreciate you joining us on X. Before we move on to the next game, make sure you sign up for the newsletter at bettingweeklystudios.com for weekly betting tips, soccer previews, tennis breakdown, brackets and breakdowns. You got Wimbledon going on. We've got you covered on every sport here at Bet Rivers. And if you have a question or a comment, or you want to tell us a pick you like, put that up in the YouTube chat, and we will check that. Or you can send us a tweet, too, and we can read that as well, but probably a little easier on the YouTube chat. All right, next game on the docket we wanted to hit on here, the Rays and the Red Sox. Your Red Sox are red hot there, Chris. They won 7 in a row, 9 of 10, beat the Rays in the first of a 4-game set last night. Drew Rasmussen, obviously very good, facing Hunter Dobbins. Are you riding this streak, or you think it's going to come to an end tonight?
There's no handicap, Bull. There's no handicap. It's just bet the Red Sox until they lose. No, seriously, Rasmussen has been really good, but it's just you bet the Red Sox. The fact that they're only minus 118, or I saw even lower this morning. It's crept up a little bit.
We got it at minus 112 right now.
Last night they're down 3-1. Okay, so there you go, minus 112. I'd hop on that right now. I mean, they were down 3-1 last night. They get some clutch hitting from the young guys. Marcelo Meyer with the opposite field single to tie the game. I mean, they're on all cylinders right now. Everyone's doing their part. They're getting great pitching. They're getting clutch hitting. They're getting the home run ball. And at home, 29-20. They're on a great streak here. How could you step in front of this train? Granted, Rasmussen has been good. He's been really strong on the road, 3-0 with a 3.21 ERA. But I think the Red Sox can get to him tonight. Story as the only guy with significant figures. He's 2 for 2. There's not much of a sample size. Dobbins is the guy, if you remember, he said if there was only one team in baseball that wanted him, and it was the Yankees, he would retire. So he's got some good admiration with the Boston fans. Yeah. He's already a hometown kind of hero of sorts. He's small. He hasn't pitched much. 4-1, 4.12. He's coming off a little elbow soreness. So you got to be careful with that. But I just got to say, you got to keep betting the Red Sox till they lose. I've had them all 7 nights, 7 in a row. I'm taking them tonight. You're at a short number. You're at home. Tampa's bats not doing much. We've talked about Tampa's bats all week. They did have a little bit of an outburst against Detroit on Wednesday, but not many runs. Only 2 runs on Monday night, 1 run on Tuesday. They had 3 last night, but they're averaging like 3 runs a game lately. That's not going to get it done at Fenway Park.
Would you consider a strikeout prop for Hunter Dobbins in this one?
No, just because of the elbow situation. Like he's coming off the he's coming off the DL stint. You're not sure how far they're going to push him. Maybe it's a little bit of a bullpen type of a game. I know they have Houck coming off the disabled list soon, so he's another guy they're going to be adding to the rotation. If Buehler can pitch like he pitched last night, and they get Houck back, you're going to have 5 solid starters, and it's something real interesting to look at. They're only 5 back in the division now. Yeah. They were 10 back about a week and a half ago. They're only 5 back now. Things are picking up in Boston. We'll see if they can maintain it. The schedule gets tougher in the second half, but let's finish strong into the break.
Speaking of coming off the injured list, that's what will be happening with Kodai Senga for the Mets. They'll play the Royals tonight. Kansas City's won 4 in a row. The Mets had won 4 in a row. Now they've lost 3 of 4, including getting swept in a doubleheader yesterday, a game they blew late the first game, then got blown out in the second game. Senga's been really good when he's been on the field, but he's been on the IL twice. You like anything in this game? Did we lose you? I think we might have lost.
I'm here.
Oh, there you go.
Here. You got me?
Okay. Yeah, I got you now.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, the Mets, what a horrible afternoon yesterday in Baltimore, getting swept by the Orioles. After that great win they had the night before, kind of didn't make sense there. You figure the Mets would keep some momentum going, but definitely not. Hey, Kansas City, all of a sudden they've won 4 in a row, and I was thinking I would jump on Kansas City to ride it through, but I'm not sure what we're going to get out of Senga. When he's on, he's really good. On the road, he's got a 2 ERA, 2-2 overall for the year, 1.47 ERA. So I'm just not sure coming off the injured stint what we're going to get from him. Waka, 4.9, 3.83, hasn't got much run support. 2-4 at home with a 2.81. One thing that stood out to me and why I'm not going to play Kansas City, even though I kind of want to play Kansas City on a 4-game win streak, is that opponent's batting average for the Mets is 417 against Waka. Soto's 4 for 9. Beatty's 2 for 3. Winker, who's not always in the lineup, 5 for 15. I'm sure he'll be in the lineup tonight. So it's a couple guys that hit him pretty well. I don't want to jump in front of that. I kind of like Kansas City at plus price, but just too many variables in this game. What we're going to get out of Senga, and the Mets seem to hit Waka pretty well. Waka just doesn't get any run support at home. So a couple of things, I'm just going to steer clear of it.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from this one as well. Pirates at the Twins, even though Tarek Skubal's going tonight for Detroit, this to me is the pitching matchup of the night, Chris. Paul Skeens against Joe Ryan. Both have been talked about in trade rumors. Obviously, Skeens is not getting dealt, but Joe Ryan might. The Pirates are on yet another losing streak. They've dropped 6 in a row. What do you anything in this game for you?
I'm definitely going to be on the Twins tonight. The line is telling you a story. It's minus 140 against Skeens. I think this Pittsburgh team has pretty much mailed it in, getting swept again. They've lost 6 in a row. They're one of the most pathetic teams in the history of baseball on the road. They're only 12-35 with 2 games away from the All-Star break. They have 12 wins on the road. I know Skeens is lights out, but they just don't score any runs for him. And Ryan's been superb. 8-4, 2.76, great at home, 4-2, the 2.86. And the Twins are hitting the ball a little bit. I just have a feeling that based on this line, they're begging you to bet Skeens. And I think this Pittsburgh team has kind of mailed it into the break. They've already fired the manager. No one hits on the team. They don't have much, ammunition coming up the farm system. They don't have much of anything going on. They have Skeens. So
right.
I feel like the line's telling you something. I'm going to be on Minnesota tonight.
And think about this. They have been very careful all of a sudden with his pitch count, and he hasn't been pitching a lot of innings. His last 5 starts, he's pitched 25 innings. Only went more than 5 once. That was a 6-inning start. His pitch counts, last 5 games, 95, 105, but then 78, 88, and 78. So they're being really careful. So even if he pitches, great early, he's coming out of the game after 5, most likely, maybe 6. But I like a Nerfy in this game too. How about a nice Nerfy?
Yeah, I could definitely endorse a Nerfy. Pittsburgh doesn't score many runs. Pittsburgh doesn't do anything. If you fall behind in a Pittsburgh game, you're pretty much, you're done.
Yeah.
You're not going to come back, especially on the road. They had that little blip where they swept the Cardinals and swept the Mets, won 6 in a row. But since then, they've lost 6 in a row and they haven't scored many runs, and it hasn't been pretty. So I'm going to be on the Twins tonight. Joe Ryan's been pitching great. He's been the best pitcher. Probably be a really nice asset to pick up. Somebody have to give a good haul for him, but we'll see. I just don't see. I don't see Pittsburgh doing much. Skeens can pitch great, but they'll still probably lose.
All right, let's get to the next game on the docket, and that's the Phillies and the Padres. And to that end, we had somebody in the YouTube chat, Maserati Fox, says, give me Ranger 5Ks plus 100. Hit this line in all but 1 game. So, Ranger Suarez is pitching for the Phillies against Ryan Burkert. You with him on that 5Ks at plus 100?
Well, the only thing that I would give pause to that is that the Padres don't strike out a lot. They're one of the least likely teams to strike out, although Machado is good for a 2 a game usually. So a lot of their guys, not big strikeout hitters. A lot of guys make a lot of good contact. Arise, Merrill. There's some some good hitters on the team that put the ball in play. So that's just one thing to give pause. Although a couple of weeks ago, I was on an under strikeout prop with Wheeler against the Padres, and he struck out. He had like 9 or 10 strikeouts. So, the Phillies have a great rotation. Their problem's the bullpen. Haven't been hitting great lately. Suarez has been lights out, 7-2, 1.99 ERA, even better on the road, 4-2 with a 1.06. It's a pretty big price to pay, though, for the Phillies at the Padres. Padres are 29-17 at home. They do seem to struggle with this Phillies team, though. So just look out. It's a game I'm not involved in at the moment. Burgett is 1-0 with a 2.67 ERA, but half his games have been the bullpen. Yeah. And at home, he's only pitched 4 innings. He's given up 3 earned runs, and he had 3 walks in 1 start. So not much to really hang your hat on with Burgett. One guy that hits Suarez really well is Jose Iglesias, 6 for 10 and a 600 clip. And Elias Diaz as well, 5 for 15 at 333. Merrill's small sample size, 2 for 5. So a couple of guys who hit Suarez all right. I'm not going to have a play in this game just due to the fact that I would have to play Padres a pass as a great home team, getting a plus money like that. I wouldn't want to lay it with Philly, even though Suarez has been great this year.
Next game, Chris, is the Blue Jays and the A's. Max Scherzer, who's not pitched much this year. He's been hurt for most of the year at his age, 40, 41 season. Luis Severino's talked about how much he hates pitching in Sacramento. Toronto's 10-game winning streak ended on Wednesday. They'll try to start a new one. Overall, they've won 12 of 14. I like the Blue Jays. They're not, considering how bad a team the A's are, they're not that big. They're a big favorite, but not crazy. It's minus 157. I like the Blue Jays a lot tonight. What say you?
Well, this goes to my theory of once a team has a giant winning streak or a giant losing streak, once they lose, you bet against them the next game. I'm definitely going to be on the A's, even though everything says Severino's horrible there. This A's team is crushing the baseball. If you just watch the Atlanta Braves series, just lighting up the scoreboard night after night, the ball is flying out of this park. The line is up to 11 for the total. The way the bats have been going for Toronto, you would think this is probably definitely an over game. I know it's tough to bet 11 in a baseball game, but the way the ball's been flying out the last couple nights, they've been scoring early and often, a lot of home runs. But I'm gonna be on the A's tonight. Toronto is not a great road team, 22 and 23. It's a weird spot. They're super hot. They just lost to the White Sox. Day off. They probably stay. I'm not sure where these teams are staying. I should be doing a little more research on this, but I wonder where these teams are staying when they go to Sacramento. If they're just hanging in Sacramento, are they doing something else on their off day? I just feel like this is like a little weird spot where everyone's just going to be, let's just take Toronto. And I think you get some good value on the A's, even though Severino's pitching. But Max Scherzer, what's he going to go? 3 innings? 4 innings?
Much.
He's had one road start, 5 innings, six hits, 3 earned. So at this ballpark, at his stage of his career, there's going to be some runs scored by the A's. I would maybe endorse an A's team total. I haven't looked into that, but I'm definitely going to be on the A's tonight, just due to my theory. When you win 10 in a row or 11 in a row, you lose one. You just more often than not, you lose the next one.
A reasonable theory, but I'm still going to go against you here. We're going to go heads up in this game.
Let's go.
Let's go. I like it. All right, next game. Dodgers and Giants. The Dodgers are playing, it's weird to say, but they are playing horrible baseball. They have lost 6 in a row. They got swept by Houston and Milwaukee. Now they got to face Logan Webb. Will they drop their 7th straight tonight?
This is one of those ones where it looks like too easy. Logan Webb, he's so good at home, 4-1 with a 1.52, but not so fast because two of the best hitters on the Dodgers crush Webb. Freeman, 14 for 40. Granted, a lot of those hits are singles. And Betts, 15 for 38, batting 385, 2 home runs. So 2 of their best guys really hit Webb well. It's kind of a conundrum game because I'm not going to bet the Dodgers. I don't bet teams on 6-game losing streaks on the road against Logan Webb, who's been just unbelievable the last 3 years at home. But at the same time, it scares me a little bit. Total so low. And San Fran being a favorite, Dodgers getting disrespected against their arch rival. But 2 of those guys hit him really well. So I'm going to steer clear of the game. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be excited to watch this game tonight. Should be a really good game. See if the Dodgers can get off the schneid. 6 in a row. Haven't lost 6 in a row since 2019. So 7 in a row. Not sure where that streak would put them, but I'm not going to back the Dodgers, but I'm not going to back the Giants either. Just due to the fact that 2 of their best hitters really like to hit Webb.
On my other show today, we were debating of the 6 teams that have won a championship in this between baseball, basketball, hockey, football, college and college basketball. We were debating which team that's won in the last year was the most dominant. Was it the Dodgers, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Florida Panthers, the Florida Gators for college basketball, the Buckeyes in college football, or the Eagles? And who was the most dominant champ? I picked the Dodgers. I'm curious your take.
I would go with the Florida Panthers, just how they steamrolled the playoffs. Just some veteran guys all coming together. And
all right.
I never thought at one point in any series Granted, that Toronto series in the first round before the goalie got hurt, but that was just, that was only the second game.
Yeah.
I never thought that they were losing a series the rest of the way. The only reason I would push back on your Dodgers is they were a 126 inning streak of Padres not scoring away from losing in the
Fair.
first
That's
round.
fair.
I mean,
Yep.
I was at the game. The Padres, the Dodgers pitched an opener against the Padres, and they Padres couldn't score. A switch went off, and they couldn't hit the rest of the series. It was, I mean, the Padres had them dead to rights, opener game, and they shut them down, and then they never scored again. So that's the only reason I pushed back on it.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I got no problem with that. Let's get to the other games that we haven't hit on in Major League Baseball today. Let's start with the Marlins and Orioles. That game at 7:05 Eastern. Cabrera and Dean Kramer, both guys could be trade candidates, especially Cabrera, who's been great. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, Cabrera has pitched well. Anyone who wants Kramer, I don't know why you would want him on your team. I could never. He's the most unreliable pitcher the Orioles have had the last couple of years. Can't trust him worth anything. Orioles have won 2 in a row, so I wouldn't go against them, but I'm not going to bet the Marlins on the road either, so there's no play in this game.
Rockies and Reds, 7:10 Eastern. Herman Marquez, who we know is awful. Chase Burns, Reds' top prospect. Obviously, he's struggled so far, but big-time talent there.
There's 3 games in our rapid rundown here that I feel like you can just go to the window and just close your eyes and just bet the favorite. And it's not just because the favorites are great teams. It's because the 3 teams I'm going to talk about are just mailing it into the break. Yeah. That's the first team is the Rockies. Losers of 3 in a row, just got swept by the Red Sox. Marquez, terrible, 3-10, 5.84. And now you got the Phenom Burns, who lit it up the first game against the Yankees. He was tipping his pitches versus the Red Sox the next game, and he gave up 9 runs in the first inning. He didn't even finish the inning. He only pitched 1/3 of an inning. So that really skews his ERA. But if you look at the other 2 starts, he's 9 2/3, 4 earned runs, 15 strikeouts. So the guy's striking out 1.5 per inning. I think I know the number looks high. Reds are good at home, hit well at home. The ball flies out of that ballpark. Reds got a little momentum, 2 in a row. I know it's minus 235, 240. I feel like the Reds are going to steamroll the Rockies tonight.
Will the Rockies win 35 games this year? They would have to go. They've played 93, which means they have 69 games left. To win 35, they'd have to go 14-55. Will they go 14-55?
Well, they're not going to get – someone said this to me the other day. They're not going to get better at the trade deadline.
No.
So, and you figure they're just – some of these guys are just going to quit on the team. It's amazing they keep running out the same 3-4 guys, Freeland and Marquez and Senzatella. It's like there's no one else. You're going to keep running out Senzatella. He's 2-13. Like, can you bring somebody else up? I mean, it's not like he has a 4 ERA. He has like a 10 ERA. So I just feel like the Reds. I think Burns will have a good night tonight. I think he'll have a bunch of strikeouts. And I think the Reds will win. I haven't bet these games yet. I'm just giving my opinion. I really like the Reds.
Rangers at the Astros. Obviously, the Astros swept the Yankees. No, swept the Dodgers, and then they got swept by the Guardians. Trying to figure out baseball, sometimes you don't know. Lance McCullers Jr. for them, Jack Leiter for the Rangers.
2 pitchers to back. Leiter 4.32 ERA, 4-6. McCullers has been all over the place. Mixed in a few good starts, but 2-3 with a 5.82. This is some tough travel for Texas. They played the late game in Anaheim last night, have to go back to Texas, and they're on the road again. So you might want to look to Houston, but off a 3-game losing streak, McCullers, that's no bargain to lay minus 122. So probably going to stay away. Maybe play a prop, Simeon 9 for 23 against McCullers. So, and McCullers is, putting batting average for McCullers against Texas is 302. So, you can't really feel confident with McCullers as a favorite. He's not the pitcher he used to be. And again, with the tough travel with Texas, it's just going to be a stay away type of game. I can't see it one way or the other.
Nationals Brewers 8:10 Eastern. Mitchell Parker and DL Hall. DL Hall will be the opener.
Yeah, here's our number 2 team that's, just trying to get to the All-Star break. without losing a limb, and that's the Washington Nationals.
Yep.
They lost last night. They lost the last game. They lost 6 out of 7. And Mitchell Parker is coming to pitch tonight. 5-9, 4.72. His last outing, 6 innings pitched, 10 hits, 9 earned runs. The Red Sox were that was a turnstile on the bases that day. Opponent's batting average, Milwaukee against him, the small sample size, but 357. I think the Brewers were on fire. They swept the Dodgers. They won 4 in a row. I know it's a big number, but I just feel like some of these teams are just trying to get to the break unscathed and just roll the balls and gloves out there. And before you know it, we're on a week vacation because most of these bad teams don't have any players going to the game.
Yeah.
So I just feel like Milwaukee, and I don't know how you pronounce his name. Is it Priester?
Yeah, Quinn Priester. Yeah.
Yeah, Priester. 6-2, 3.59, 4-1 at home, 3.03 ERA. Opponent's batting average 235. So all systems go for the Brewers to get their 5th win in a row.
Here's an under the radar pitching matchup with 2 teams that are, one case bad, the other mediocre. But Grant Holmes and Matthew Liberatore both have pitched pretty well this year.
Yeah, another team though that I think is just. Is this the lost season for the Braves or what?
Oh yeah,
all the high expectations. One of the favorites to win the World Series. Probably the second choice behind the Dodgers, I think, in the National League to start the season. And it's, no pitching. The hitting's fallen off. They got bamboozled 2 of the games in Oakland or in Sacramento. Holmes has been good, but no run support. 4-8 with a 3.44 ERA, 2-3 with a 4.46 on the road. Opponent's batting average in a small sample size, 353 for St. Louis. I feel like St. Louis been really good at home. I can see them just, tough travel for the Braves. What do you think? You're out in Sacramento. You got to fly halfway across the country to St. Louis. It plays a really solid brand of baseball at home. St. Louis at -120. I think I can endorse that. I'm going to be on the Cardinals.
And finally, the Diamondbacks and the Angels. Ryan Nelson against Tyler Anderson.
D-backs, Angels, 2 teams just middling in mediocrity. They can't really get too many games above or below 500. The one thing I'll say about Nelson, he's been a starter 9 games, also had 10 relief appearances. He's been very, very solid at home. But on the road, his ERA, for some reason, balloons up 4 points. He's like a 1.5 at home. He's like a 5.5 on the road. So I would lean towards the Angels just because Anderson's been solid at home, 1-3, granted no run support, but a 2.66 ERA at home. I would lean Angels, no play, but just because the Ryan Nelson guy, for some reason, he just can't click on the road. Really high ERA. Oh, one guy too. Sorry.
Yeah.
One prop. Kettle Marte, 13 for 30, 6 doubles and 2 home runs versus Anderson. So maybe you look for a prop there, but I would lean the Angels in the game.
All right, final thing. The Major League Baseball draft is this Sunday. We're not big draft guys, but Anderson's a pretty big favorite to be the first pick. But from what I've read, and again, I'm not an expert on the draft, but I've been reading about it just because I'm curious now that it's happening, is that there's really no consensus as to who's the best player in this draft. So I guess I'd consider, laying a couple of bucks on Ethan Holiday. Because I think he could just as easily be the first pick, and he's plus 175.
Well, I'll push back on it just to play devil's advocate. Just to play devil's advocate here is that the Nationals just cleaned house with their manager, GM, and whoever's coming in is going to want to try to win right away. And the Holiday kid apparently is not going to be ready for a couple of years.
Yep, that's true.
He's not as advanced as his brother. Is this what I heard? So I feel like they are going to go for Anderson. He's a durable starter, as our producer Max mentioned. He's pitched, in big games. He's almost Major League Baseball ready. He's not as big as the Skeens, but coming from that LSU tree, he could be, he could be on the mound next year for the Nationals. And I feel like the new ownership, the new general manager, and the new manager are going to want to see some instant results and not a guy sitting in the minors for a couple of years.
All right, great stuff. Everybody have an awesome weekend. Win all your bets. Good luck, but be smart about it. Take advice. You don't have to bet every game. Thanks to Z and Max for producing today. For Chris, I'm Adam. We'll talk to you next week on Betting Weekly Hardball. See you, everybody.